Did you ever order something online and it takes like weeks before it gets here? You know, you keep looking at the updates and, you know, they'll tell you that the delivery will be like Monday. But then Monday comes and they push it out to like Thursday or Friday. And you just wait and wait and wait. I got a package today. And it only took 2 days to get here. It is my saddlemen solo seat for the Ultra. So let's take it out to the garage and put it together. First thing we'll do is the unboxing of this thing. So cut the tape. Open her up and see what's in here. Lots of packing. These are just foam filled bags. There it is, the Saddlemen solo seat for the Ultra, and it says it's an exact fit for my bike. There's some mounting hardware on here too. Cut that off of there. I don't want to cut the seat. They put these little zip ties on, and sometimes they're not so easy to get off. Okay. So yeah, some thumb screw type bolts that will attach the seat. So let's take the seat off of the other one. There's a tag, Saddlemen. Let Saddlemen serve you today. And there are actually some decals there. All right. Everybody likes decals. What do you do with them? I don't know. Okay. That seat's ready to go on. But let's get the other one off. Always put your tools away when you're done with them so you don't misplace them. It's a little custom thumb screw. Actually says Harley Davidson Motor Company, just kind of plain. You gotta look online, you can get all different types of those, you know, different colors and different logos on them and whatnot. So the seat comes off, but we gotta unplug this cord here. And that was for the heated seat, because this seat here does have you know, heat in it, but I won't be using that with the new seat. This is the bracket for the backrest. The backrest snaps into that, so that's got to come off because we're not using the backrest anymore. And the new one will bolt on right here. to these bolts. Put that little thumb screw back in there, because I'm going to use that again. Okay, that's off. This wiring harness is, I'm going to have to take, I don't know why they got things so cabled up here, but that's going to be in the way they have it tied up there, so I'm going to have to take that off. Now, one thing I've said before, whenever you do jobs like this, you should read the instructions. It does have some tips on there, things you should look for. I don't see any problems with mounting this. It said on some models there is a, what did they call it? It said there's a possibility there could be two metal frame bumpers on figure B, which is right there, but I don't see the frame bumpers on this one. It has the crash bars attached where those would be, so hopefully that doesn't interfere with anything. Boy, that seat gouged that paint up there for sure. Alright, the new seat slips right over this tongue here, and then it's going to screw onto these two mounts. So I've got the wires down in there, should clear. This wire goes to my saddlebag lock. That goes to the side bag lock too, so those stay there. This should push down, the seat should go right over it. So let's see how it's going to work. That walks right in there. And that fits right over those pins. There you go. Pretty cool. Now I've got to put the little thumb screws on there. So let me find those. They are right here. You got two of them. So you have to lift up on the leather and you push that down because they screw on underneath the leather. And that doesn't seem like it's going to work too easily, but we'll get it. And they do have like a little hex bolt on the end, so I can tighten them up once I get everything on there. Now that takes a 5/8 wrench. A lot of those 1/4 turns, you know. You don't have a lot of room to work there, but you want to snug these up. The thing is, I'm going to take them back off again because I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. You'll notice these rubber pads that are on here for the stock seat. And I did a little research. They don't come off very easy at all. They're very, very difficult to get off without damaging the paint. You also have this like plastic clear cover that's on there too. So that would have to come off too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some buffalo hide. Similar to what I got on the Fat Boy here. See this heavier grain leather? And I'm going to cut a pad that'll screw on with that. A leather pad, you know, that'll fit down in here and wrap around that fender. And it'll basically be like this. It'll just be black leather on there. No cushion at all, just buffalo hide. So I'm going to make a pattern. I'm going to go down and look and see. I do have some cowhide leather that I used on this, but I don't think I have enough. I may have to go online and purchase a piece of leather for that to wrap around there. There's one other thing I could do too. These are the brackets for the tour pack, and I have to take the side bags off, but there's a couple bolts you can take off, and those come off, and it would just leave this open groove in there without these things on there. So I take those off too, and then check it out. It's going to look pretty sassy. I like it. In order to wrap around that thing, I'm going to need at least 12 inches wide by at least 12 inches long. So let's go downstairs and see if we have that. I have this big bag of leather scraps. I've got leather string here, but I've got sheets of leather too, and I pulled this black leather out. So these are the biggest pieces I have, and if I measure those, I don't quite have the width that I need. So I've got, well, I can go 12 to there, but these corners are going to fall short, so that isn't big enough, and these pieces obviously aren't much different. They're all too narrow. So I'm going to have to go online and order a piece of, and you can order this leather online in just, you know, squares, and you can determine, I can get buffalo hide, which is about the same thickness as this. It's just a heavier grade leather. I'll go online and I'll get at least a 12 by 12, which shouldn't be too expensive, really. I don't have anything else in here really that's black, though. You know, other than small pieces, this piece is definitely not big enough. So, and I think that's the only black that was in there. Yeah, because this is all different colors of shades of brown. Yep. And there's another piece of black. Those are just little thin shreds of black, though, there. Alright, well, I gotta go to the ordering board and see what I can find online. Now, there's a reason I'm leaving these things on here. I'm not taking them off. Number one, I don't want to mess up the finish. Not that it matters, because this is going to either covered up by a seat or covered up by something else, unless I decide to make this a permanent situation. But if the day ever comes that I want to go back to the touring package, and I want to put my tour pack back on, and my original heated seat, I want everything to be stock. You know, I don't want to screw things up, but I'm going to regret later. So that's why I'm going to cover that up with a piece of leather. I didn't have any, you know, the brown paper, wrapping paper to make a pattern, but I got some wallpaper, some old little roll of old wallpaper. So I'm going to make a pattern for the leather piece that I want. And then when I get the leather, I'll just use the pattern to cut the leather to size and mount it onto the back of the bike there, and it should look pretty good. So I put my drawing board to work and I made a pattern. I'm going to have a plaid passenger seat. No, that's just a wallpaper pattern that I'm going to use for the piece of leather when I get it. I didn't drill these two holes yet, but when I do cut these two holes for the front tabs. I'm going to stretch this leather as tight as I can get it, you know, pulling on this, so it'll adhere to the contour of the seat nicer. I used a scribe and I made a nice, you know, round edge on there. And you know, once I get the leather, I may tweak that a little bit more, but I think that's going to work. I think that's going to work. And then the other seat will go on there and come right to here. And we'll just have a nice little leather cover for the back part of that fender. One thing I always do when I take things apart, I put the nuts with the... what the heck is that? Yeah. Somebody had the same idea I did. Some little like rubber band hair ties that held the spring thing on the backrest together. So yeah, that's the bracket for the backrest. But like I said, I taped the nuts for it, put the other bolt back on there, so that when I go to put back together, I don't have to search around and wonder, what did I do with those bolts? What did I do with those nuts? So now I got to find a place to store this stuff. I got the seat. I think I'm going to take the tour pack brackets off too, because there's no need for those on there anymore, and they just kind of look goofy on there. They come off pretty easy, you know. Just takes a few minutes. Just got to pull the side bags off and a couple bolts with the hex head bolts, and they're off. So yeah, it's coming along. It'll be a street glide pretty soon here. I'm liking it. It looks fast. In other business around the house here, I have this propane gas range. I have this dishwasher. I have this GE washing machine. I also have this Kenmore clothes dryer. I have a Rheem water heater. I have a Carrier furnace and air conditioning system. And I also have a submersible pump down in the well that shoots the pond water up to the house. Each one of those units is either dependent on or both electricity and or propane. So if you're like me, in the back of your head, I'm always wondering or worrying that one of these days one of my major appliances is going to conk out and then I'm going to have to replace it. Now, most of my stuff is in pretty decent condition, not too old. But yesterday, I noticed that when I took my shower, that my water was lukewarm and not hot anymore. Now, this Rheem water heater was installed in 2015, so it's 10 years old. It still should be in really good working condition, but it wasn't working, and there's a blue light down here that's flashing an error code. I tried to reset it. I shut it off and restarted it, but it wouldn't ignite. It wouldn't work. And so I called the service department and said, hey, I need a technician to come out. My hot water heater isn't working. They said, well, that's a $70 charge just for us to come out. Well, what are you going to do? I said, well, I got to have it fixed. I got to have hot water. Well, as the morning went on, I was able to figure out the problem. I went to use my stovetop, and when I turned on my gas flame, I had no flame. I'm like, what? I tried it. When you turn it on, it clicks and it ignites. Well, you see there's a flame now, but there wasn't this morning. And I was like, what the heck? Well, yesterday I had a propane delivery. Now, as you see, my propane tank sits back here behind the shed, quite a ways from the house. And yesterday, when he came to fill the tank, yeah, first off, there was a wasp nest in here, and he killed the wasps. He sprayed them, so you see the dead wasps in there. And then he filled the tank. This is where the fill port is, bringing the pressure up to where it's supposed to be now. But the disturbing thing was, before he filled it, the tank was almost empty. And I thought, I haven't even used that much propane. How could my tank be empty? And he says, well, let me check the thing here for leaks, because this was replaced last year. And so he got the soap solution and he squirted it all over here. And right here on this connection, it was leaking. Gas was leaking out of there. It was bubbling up, foaming all up there. So he went ahead and he tightened that up. He replaced this little valve here. And that was it. Well, when he left, he failed to turn the gas back on. He had this valve was completely shut off. So I realized that this morning when I went to use my gas range and it wouldn't light. I thought, wait a minute, he just filled that tank yesterday. So I came out here to the propane tank and I checked that valve, and sure enough, it was shut off. So I turned it back on, and right away you could hear the gas charge the lines. I went back in the house. I turned the gas range on. It lit up instantly. I was like, that was the problem. So back down in the basement, I shut my propane water heater off, waited a minute or so, turned it back on, and she fired right up. So I had to make another call to the service people and tell them that I'm not going to need your service today. I figured out the problem on my own. And that's always a good feeling when you can figure out something on your own and it's just a simple fix. But it does take some brain work, some investigative thinking, to try to figure out exactly what happened. I would feel bad for some people, especially older people that wouldn't know how to check those things. That would be a $70 service charge for the technician to come out and realize that your propane was turned off. Just a simple fix that anybody could do, but sometimes, people aren't so savvy about figuring those things out. Well, I've got a pretty good stack here on the front porch, but I still have more than half of it down there to continue hauling up with my little red wagon here. So I need to get busy on that this morning while the temperature's still cool. That being said, I'm going to let you go today. Thanks for visiting. Thanks for your support. Thanks for your wonderful, friendly comments. I really appreciate them. Till next time, cats. God bless, and I'll catch you all later.